Greetings and welcome to the Pivot Play podcast. I'm your host, Jerry A. Thompson. In this inaugural episode, I want to talk to you about what is Pivot Play and why does it matter. The original idea for Pivot Play was actually born out of watching what was happening in the world due to the coronavirus pandemic. And while there was so much focus on the immediate impacts because it was so unknown and so scary, my mind actually started playing it forward to say, well, what does the future look like? And I began to think about the ripple effects in our supply chains, the ripple effects in the economy, how education was being impacted, how personal relationships were being impacted, how people's ability to support themselves and their families have been impacted. And then unfortunately, the loss of so many lives, people who've had the virus and have survived it, but now have the after effects of it. And I know that there's been a lot of people who in the beginning, it's like, if we just camp out long enough, things will go back to normal. That's been the cry. How do we get back to normal? But my belief is things will never go back to the way they were before. Too much has happened. And it's not just what's happened because of the virus. It's that was just the undercurrent. There's all the other things that have happened worldwide, things that have happened here in the U.S., just social unrest and just things that we never thought would happen are happening. And so the pivot play is all about what happens if the thing that you did in the way that you did it goes away or changes and no longer meets your needs. Maybe if it's gone altogether. This is certainly a possibility. Or maybe the reality is, man, life is so short. I could be gone any day. How about I start living my life in a way that makes me feel like I'm in control again? And so the pivot play is the idea, if you think about it from a sports perspective, it is that idea of I need to move in a different direction. So if you're playing football, basketball, tennis, doesn't matter. You have to plant one foot firmly so all your weight can go on it, which allows you then to securely change. And it sounds simple. We do it all the time physically. But when we're talking about doing it with our lives, it could be a different undertaking altogether. And that's what we talk about is how do I go from what I do now to the thing that I must do later? How do I go from not doing very much to maybe having to learn a completely new skill set? Maybe it's time for you to start a business. Maybe it's time for you to invest and really begin to develop your personal relationships in a different way. We cover a ton of topics. So we'll talk about curiosity and creativity. We'll talk about courage. We talk about managing fear. We talk about starting that business. We talk about how do I grow that business? How do I scale it if I needed to get bigger? So, even right down to what do I do with my employees? What about leadership? What about management? And so we get into so many different topics here. And so between the contributions that you'll get from me and what we get from our guests, the idea is that we always leave breadcrumbs behind, something that you can learn, something that you can use in your life. And our guest and hopefully myself are great examples of what is possible. What you'll learn about me is that I am so impassioned around human potential, these amazing gifts that we've been given. But everyone has the opportunity, if not the obligation, to make some sort of contribution to humanity. There's something that you can do. It's the questions you answer. It's the problems you solve. It's the people you help. It's the great experiences that you give to others that I really believe open the door for you to have what you want in life. I know that certainly what's guided me for so many years of all the people that I've coached and mentored and groups that I've spoken to. I so believe in that idea that if I can help other people get to what it is that they want, I'll get more of what I want out of life. And I certainly have been fortunate. When I think about, my career and the positions that I've made it to at the executive level in very large companies in this country, again, extremely fortunate to be able to find ways to express myself and to bring my sense of self to these responsibilities, both large and small. As long as I can remember, I've always run some sort of a business, kind of, my side hustle, but I've also run storefront businesses. So I know what it's like to go from zero to open to building a customer base, what it takes to market a business, what it takes to manage a business. And so I feel that I'm in a great position to really be the moderator for these conversations and to really help lay down the tracks that you can follow, things that you can truly do to allow you to pivot, finding that position, that solid ground that you can plant your weight on so that you can turn your life in a different direction. So it's all here for you. So thanks so much for coming here. You'll see the episodes, they'll vary. Our guests will vary, business owners, psychologists, just it's going to be a lot. And so there'll be what we call pop-ups. There'll be really short episodes or likely just to be myself talking about a topic or an ideal, something that you can use. And then some of them will be more long form with some of our guests, just fantastic conversations. So they could range from 30 minutes to an hour. Well, the idea is you don't have to take it all in one chunk. Listen for a few minutes, maybe take some notes, but even if you have to take it in bite-sized pieces, I promise that this information is going to be amazing and it's going to be great. It's going to be transparent and not the type of information that you might find on other platforms. So again, I appreciate you for coming through. Again, I am Jerry A. Thompson. I hope to be in front of you on a frequent basis and that you're reaching out to share your contributions as well. Again, welcome to Pivot Play.